Oh my gosh, I got a giant. Oh, God. Oh my gosh. Guys, today on Vernon Lake, we're gonna be pulling in some hogs. Let's Fish TV is on Vernon Lake, which is located in southwest Louisiana, just south of Toledo Bend. And guys, it has some really nice bass and some really nice crappie. Today we're dealing with some really tough conditions though. We're gonna be dealing with a cold front and high muddy water, but I got a few secrets up my sleeve and I can't wait to show you today on Let's Fish TV. Let's Fish TV is on the air right now. That is a fish. Oh man, look at this.
It's time for the only program that brings you real-time fishing reports from the Southeast region every week.
Oh my gosh. Oh, look at that. Woo!
This is Let's Fish.
This week on Let's Fish TV, we're at Vernon Lake. Vernon Lake is located about 8 miles northwest of Leesville, Louisiana. And what I've been told, it has a lot of really nice bass in it and some nice crappie. You know, about 2 years ago though, the lake was unfishable. They had to draw the lake down because of working on the dam. Now the water's back in the lake. There's a bunch of stumps and a lot of really nice fish from what I'm told. You know, we're dealing with some really adverse conditions today though. We're dealing with post-frontal, high water, and really, really tough spawning bass. But you know one thing about it though, we're gonna go out there and we're gonna give it our best and we're gonna try to find these really nice bass here at Vernon Lake. We'll also have your fishing reports from your local region, from our insider reporters. In the meantime, I'm gonna get this boat launched, get everything set up, and toss it back to the studio for your weekend planner.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for stopping by once again. These Salooner tables are predicting good game fish activity both days this weekend. Expect those prime daytime hours to begin around 5:49 Saturday and 6:41 Sunday morning, with top evening action starting at 6:16 on Saturday and 7:10 on Sunday evening. Depending on your area, expect the sun to rise around 7:04 and set at 7:53. The moon will be a first quarter moon with 53% visibility. Stick around, we've got fishing reports from across the area on the way. Plus, I'll return with the Bassmaster Elite Angler John Cox to answer this week's Ask the Pro question.
We're gonna be dealing with some pretty adverse conditions. You know, and when we go fishing, it's not always rainbows and lollipops. Sometimes it's really tough, and that's what we're gonna be dealing with today. We're talking about 4 to 5 inches of rain just 2 days ago, and it was 39 degrees last night. When you're dealing with spawning bass and you mix all those factors in, it can get really, really tough. But today we're gonna go try to crack that code, and I'm excited to get on a body of water that I've never been to before, because I've heard all kinds of great stories of really nice bass and big crappie that have come out of this body of water. So I can't wait to get out there and show y'all a little bit about what Vernon Lake is all about. Ooh, good one. Oh, that's a big one, guys. That's a Lake Vernon toad. Oh yeah, that's her. Whew, stay down, stay down. Oh, that's a good one. I'll reach in there and grab this fish. Oh, barely got it. Oh, there we go, guys. Guys, today we're here on Lake Vernon. Lake Vernon is located just south of Toledo Bend in Louisiana, and we're dealing with a very unique condition right now, and that is high water, muddy water, post-frontal conditions, and these fish are trying to get up there and spawn, and this is the quality you can expect when you come to Lake Vernon. Now, granted, this is probably going to be on the more upper echelon of size, but let me tell you guys, this is the place to be right now. Let me get this fish back real quick. But I'm gonna tell you real quick though, when you deal with these types of adverse conditions, you know, we've had a lot of rain just in the last couple of days. The fishing's been kind of tough. That's when I want to throw a bait that has some vibration. Because, you know, a lot of times fish feed based off of vibration. And to me, there's no better bait than picking up a Strike King Thunder Cricket or a vibrating jig. but I'm gonna show you a little trick that's gonna help you catch fish in these types of situations. So one thing about Lake Vernon is it is full of stumps. As you can tell here, it's got a ton of different trees in here, and that can make navigating pretty difficult. But one thing that it does do is it gives those fish a place to ambush the bait when it comes by. Throwing that vibrating jig like the Thunder Cricket, I can roll it around these stumps and catch those fish. But one big key here is the trailer I'm using. This is the Baby Rage Crawl. And as you can tell, I'm rigging it flat on the jig. So what this is gonna do is it's gonna allow the bait to actually not roll when you get around that cover. So if you bounce it off a cover, instead of rolling, it keeps it flat and makes it run true. And that's exactly what you want when you're fishing heavy cover like stumps, laydowns, and stuff like that. So when you're on a place like a Lake Vernon and you have a lot of trees, make sure you have that flat crawl worm like the Baby Rage Crawl, and it'll help get you a lot of bites in those tough situations.
Hey folks, it's time for your Carolinas Report. This week brought to you by Crazy Sister Marina. My good partners over at Crazy Sister Marina want to make sure you live like a local this spring when you come into town. Visit crazysistermarina.com and you can book your trip. You want to go out on one of our private charter boats, offshore, nearshore, inshore, we got that. Freshwater side of things, wow, did the Elite Series show out in South Carolina. Not only in the Bassmasters Classic up on Lake Hartwell, but how about Santee when Drew Cook just absolutely demolished the century mark at 105.5 pounds. And you know what? He got out with that fighting frog. And I'll tell you, that thing produced, you know, fishing with one rod, one bait for 4 days to get out and produce 100+ pounds of fish. Look for those fish to start moving out of those beds. You know, we'll have another wave come in next month on that full moon, but most of those fish are gonna start moving out. They're gonna be feeding up, start looking at that deeper water outside of those channels, back up on those flats where they were spawning, and you're gonna find them feeding right now on those shad and herring. Hey, this has been your freshwater report from Carolinas Report, and remember, fish smarter, not harder, and keep that chaos organized.
There's one. Ooh, there we go. Another Vernon, nice Vernon bass, man. Golly, you know, that's one cool thing about throwing that Thunder Cricket is sometimes the bite is really, really unique. And that one was extremely unique. I actually threw it up there and I'm sitting there reeling along, and it just loads up, and I think I'm snagged on a stump, and it was actually a fish. And I mean, he absolutely choked it. But not a bad little bass. I mean, a nice little one. Get that thing back. But you know, today, especially on Vernon, and this is something I've dealt with a lot in dirty water, and like we're dealing with some pretty dirty water right now, is there's two ways to fish dirty water. You can either throw a black and blue bait, or you can throw a white bait. Today, I've kind of opted for the black and blue, and this is something I tend to do more in the pre-spawn spawn. Once it goes post-spawn, and I think the shad may be spawning, that's when I'll go to like a white. But when I'm doing the pre-spawn thing, it's either black and blue. This one happens to be black, blue, brown with the black and blue trailer. Something about that black and blue, especially when they're up here spawning and you're dealing with a lot of dirty water, they really like to key in on it. But one big key thing that you have to pay attention to is your line size. You know, there's a lot of different options out there. You can fish braided line or fluorocarbon. In the case of how I like to fish a vibrating jig, I always throw fluorocarbon line. One thing about braid, it will allow your vibrating jig to knock harder. But in the case of today, I want that fluorocarbon, I want a little bit more give. In case in point, that particular fish there, because whenever I went to snatch it off of that laydown, or what I thought was a laydown, it was in fact a bass. So it was a little bit more give. Had I been throwing braid, I might not have had that same opportunity. So pay attention to your line and pay attention to your color. Basing your color off of the time of the year, and will help you get way more bites.
Let's Fish TV is proudly backed by Mercury, Go Boldly, Lowrance, America's #1 fish finder, Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, Alabama. Plan or book your fishing charter at orangebeach.com. MotorGuide's Tour Pro with GPS anchor, powered by Passion.
There's one. Another nice little Lake Vernon bass. You know, one thing I was paying attention to was the depth. There's one. There we go. Another nice little Lake Vernon bass. You know, one thing I was paying attention to was the depth. You know, we kind of started backing out in some stumps and 2 to 3 foot and stopped getting bites. And as soon as we got back up in that 1.5 to 2 foot of water, we got way more bites. And that's something that you really got to pay attention to, especially when you're fishing a shallow body of water like Lake Vernon and a lot of other lakes all across the country. When you're fishing dirty water, there's always going to be a zone in which those fish are relying on and really hanging out in, whether it be because they're pulling up to spawn, or maybe that's where they feel comfortable based off the water color, or maybe that's where the bait is. But if you really pay attention, I don't care if it's 1.7 to 1.9 foot, if you pay attention to that one little minute detail, you're going to put a lot of extra fish in the boat. And that's exactly what we're doing on Lake Vernon today. You know, as soon as I slid back up there in that shallower water, instantly got a bite. I mean, it was like clockwork. Pay attention to those little subtleties. You're gonna find all those little subtleties every single time you're on the water, and every day it might be just a little bit different. One day they might be in 3 to 4 foot, one day they might be in 1 foot. Just pay attention. The weather will give you those clues, and so will the fish. So pay attention the next time you're out there. You'll put more fish in the boat, especially on those dirty water days in that really shallow water.
Hey y'all, thanks for checking in on this segment. This is the Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia Coastal Fishing Report. This segment's brought to you by me, Captain Patrick Garmison with Ugly Fishing. Here fishing Alabama waters in Mobile Bay, Alabama, Southwest Alabama. We've been targeting sheephead and bull reds and a little bit of speckled trout, but the sheephead spawn is in full swing. We've had our first wave of fish come in and spawn. We've got a second wave moved in. Talked to Kyle Johnson over in Mississippi. He said that the sheephead spawn is still kicking butt for them, and he says the same thing, about another week or two and that'll be shut down. He said the redfish action is really good in the clear water. He's fishing around the barrier islands. He said he's really enjoying the sight casting for those fish. Also, my buddy Garrett Ross over in Savannah, Georgia, he said that the sheephead bite is still going well for them. He says some big redfish have moved up in the creeks, and that's been providing a lot of action. He said there's also some really big schools of black drum around, but he said that they are not staying in one place very long. So he said if you find them, set up, catch them while they're there, but if you don't stop on them, he said they're probably going to move on and you won't find them again. Y'all remember what my buddies at Speckled Truth have to say, and keep what you need and leave the rest. God bless, guys.
Let's Fish TV is proudly backed by Academy Sports and Outdoors, making it easier than ever to gear up and have fun out there. Visit Mississippi, Wanderers welcome. Powerful, total boat control. Balls Out, made in the USA. Heavy duty mounts for your fish finders.
Full size, 3/8 ounce Thunder Cricket here. I want you to look at the size of this crappie. Oh my gosh. Look at the size of this crappie, guys. Holy cow. He came out there and wrecked that Thunder Cricket. Look at the size of this crappie. Holy cow. I mean, look at the mouth. This is a full size 3/8 ounce Thunder Cricket here. I want you to look at the size of this crappie. Oh my gosh. So, you know, today is a bass show. We're here on Vernon Lake. But let me tell you, I didn't know these kind of slabs were located in this body of water, but goodness gracious. I mean, he knocked absolute slack in that thing. Look how fat that thing is. I'm gonna get him back real quick. But let me tell you a little bit about what we're doing today. We're rolling around these stumps, and one thing we figured out is these fish are slid up in 1.5 to 2 foot of water. They aren't much deeper. Part of the reason is we had an influx of rain 4 to 5 inches just a couple days ago, and it completely blew out and muddied up this water. You know, the bait is really critical and all that kind of stuff. But one thing I want to talk to you about is the new rod that I'm fishing. This is the actual bladed jig slash thunder cricket rod that we just designed at Lou's. It's our signature series rod. You know, for a long time, I've had a really hard time finding that perfect vibrating jig rod. And I have a lot of expectations out of vibrating jig rod. I have a few different things that I want it to be. The first thing, I want it to be between 7'2" and 7'4", and that's 7 foot 2 inches to 7 foot 4 inches long. This one happens to be 7 foot 3.5, so it's like the perfect length. And the other thing is I want something that has a good backbone, but a really bendy tip. And what this is gonna allow you to do is skip that bait way back into stuff and also let that bait load up. You want a parabolic rod. Throwing this thing on fluorocarbon, and that's primarily what I throw my thunder crickets or my vibrating jigs on, is fluorocarbon. The contra fluorocarbon is what I turn to, 17-pound test. A good graphite rod like this thunder cricket rod is definitely what you wanna have. You're able to load up, set the hook, catch up real fast. That 7.5 to 1 gear ratio reels are very crucial as well. That way you can turn down and catch them as soon as they bite.
Hey, welcome to this week's Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama Fishing Reports, brought to you by the fine folks over at TH Marine. Go to thmarine.com and browse around. It doesn't matter what part of your boat you're looking for a part for, they've got a part that makes it better. Check them out today. Hey, let's talk about how to make your fishing better. Let's talk about where to go and what to do. Mississippi, Ross Barnett. They are firing over there. Those big ones are eating. They're pre-spawn, spawn, and post-spawn by this point. And let me tell you what to do. Find the windy spots where the wind's blowing in on those pad stems and go throw a spinnerbait, a bladed jig, float a worm around. Have a good time. That's where they're at. They're big, they're eating, they're spawning on the bases of those lily pad stems. In Alabama, Smith Lake. This time of year, those big spots are crazy. They eat. Never drive past a bridge on Smith Lake. I don't care if it's 20 feet deep or 120 feet deep. Back off, throw you a 3.25, 3.3 inch swim bait on a 1/4 ounce head. Throw it out there, let it fall on a spinning rod, and just reel it back. If you catch one, you're gonna catch a bunch. Also, go throw away weight bait around docks right now and see what happens. You can thank me later. In Tennessee, let me tell you about one of the most fun things happening, one of the greatest places to go, and that's Blue Bank Resort on Reelfoot Lake. Call over there and book a trip with Billy Blakely, the legend, and go crappie fishing. He catches big slabs. He's going to teach you how to do it. It is so much fun. You're going to laugh all day. That's what's happening here. We'll see you when you get here. Go ball.
There's one. Oh, that's a good one. There we go. Nice Vernon Lake bass right there, guys. Man, I think that's gonna wrap up today. I'm gonna tell you right now, guys, fishing has been really tough, but you know, we don't always get to go fishing when the fishing is great. But today, what we've proved is that even on the worst of conditions, you can get out there and catch some nice bass. We had one really big one. We had a big crappie and quite a few of this size and better. But you know what? One thing I've learned when you get out here fishing, one of the most important things I've learned from a kid all the way to a professional angler, is that you have to keep your bait wet. No matter how bad the fishing may be getting, if you keep your bait wet and you stay in areas that are productive, you have a better chance of catching bass. I know that's such a simple term, but one thing that we can do as anglers a lot of times is overthink things. We try to make something happen when it's just not going to happen. You gotta stick around fish. It's something I learned from my great uncle Billy is, you know, one of the worst things you do is leave fish to find fish. And today what we did is we put our head down and we worked hard and we found fish in an area and we stuck to them. We kept the thunder cricket in our hands with that baby rage crawl, and we were able to load the boat with some really nice bass. Guys, I hope y'all enjoyed today's episode. I know I sure did, and I hope you learned a little bit about Vernon Lake. I'm gonna get this boat loaded up and we're gonna talk a little bit about how we caught them today on such a cool body of water in South Louisiana.
Watch our latest episode or catch up on past episodes on our website at letsfishtv.com. Be sure to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter for new fishing videos every day. And download the free Waypoint TV app to get all the latest episodes every week on your phone, tablet, computer, or smart TV. Let's Fish TV is proudly backed by Lose, Feel the Difference, Mamba Boats, Ride with Pride, Strike King, Tie One On, Glacier Glove, stay outdoors longer with our gloves, hats, and shades, Fishing Specialties, makers of the premier mount assembly for live sonar.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's get right on to your Ask the Pro question for this week. Silas wants to know, what is your best advice to keep from losing or breaking off a big fish? For an answer, we asked Bassmaster Elite Angler John Cox.
Oh my gosh, so the best advice I can give you for keeping a fish on, not breaking it off, is make sure you're using your drag. You know, don't have your drag locked down completely where that fish can't take any line, and just keep the line tight. Man, when me and my kids are fishing, that was the one thing I always tell them to do, is keep the line tight, keep reeling. You know, as long as that drag's set good and you keep reeling, you're gonna get that fish in.
Thank you, John, for sharing that info with us. If you want some help from one of the pros too, all you have to do is go to letsfishtv.com, follow that Ask the Pro link to submit your own question.
Here's today's Right Stuff, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Today on the Academy Right Stuff, I'm going to talk to you about a brand new shirt I just got. It's this one I'm wearing right here. It's the Magellan Outdoors Pro Angler Gator and Hoodie t-shirt. It has a built-in gator, so it'll protect you from the sun, your neck, your ears. It also has the hood. And to me, a hooded t-shirt is extremely important, and I'll tell you exactly why. When I'm out there bed fishing and I need to cut all the glare out, I'll wear this black shirt, I'll put my sunglasses on, and they'll be able to cut all the glare out. And that's exactly what you need the next time you're on the water. I know one thing, I'm gonna get me a couple more of these new t-shirts. Today on Vernon Lake, I kept a bait in my hand that I got a lot of confidence in, and it just so happens to be the Strike King Thunder Cricket. The Strike King Thunder Cricket is a bait that I have spent countless hours on, and it's a bait that I keep in my hands, especially when the fishing is tough and I'm dealing with dirty high water. Today I was using the black and blue green pumpkin mix with a black and blue baby rage crawl. 17-pound fluorocarbon. This is the new Contra fluorocarbon, and guys, it is super duper strong. The bladed jig rod, definitely a huge key today. This is the new Signature Series Andy Montgomery bladed jig rod, and a 7.5 to 1 gear ratio reel. I know you noticed a few different times they would slackline me. You have to have a quick reel to be able to catch up with those fish. You know, one of my favorite things about the Thunder Cricket, and what I feel like sets it apart, is two things. The one cool thing is you can keep this thing engaged at extremely slow speeds, and a lot of the bites today I had to reel the bait really slow. The other thing is it has a big owner Zoe wire hook to it. This is a very slick hook. It's extremely sharp. It's the same hook that I use when I'm flipping and things like that. So it has that good heavy gauge, and those fish just can't shake it. That's one of my favorite things about the Strike King Thunder Cricket, and I hope it helps you catch them the next time you're on the water. Thanks for joining us this week on Vernon Lake. I hope y'all learned how to find and catch these big largemouth bass. Until next time, I'll see you on the water.